Hey tankers, what's up? Wilbur Effect here. So I recently installed a game that most of you might know called World of Tanks. I've had it for about 2.5 weeks now, and I finally found a vehicle that I absolutely hate. And no, it isn't the M7 Priest. I absolutely love this thing. It's the M3 Lee. To put it lightly, uh, the only good things about this are ability, and it leads to the M4 Sherman. Other than that, this tank is an utter piece of garbage. Firepower. Okay, so it's got 110 average damage. Not bad. That's pretty average for the tier. 92 pen. Again, pretty average. Putting out a shot roughly every 3.2 seconds. Still not too bad. There we go, 3.49 with my crew right now. Gun traverse 36 degrees a second. Not. Elevation depression, -9 to 20. Pretty decent. 15, and that's to the left and right of the tank, which really limits it. And I found that it is a better tank destroyer than an actual medium tank. Your aiming time, 2.45 seconds. Not terrible, but it could be a lot better. Where the gun really starts to fail is the dispersion value, or how much the shot can deviate at a set distance. For this tank, it's 0.48 meters at 100. That's artillery levels of inaccuracy. And this is a medium tank gun. I don't know how you can fuck up so bad that the gun is that inaccurate. And the damage per minute is below average on this. It's roughly 2,000, which is pretty decent, but on here it's 1,900, just short of 1,900. Survivability? Yeah, forget it. The second you get spotted with this thing, you're dead. And if you're not dead, the enemy team are garbage, and they have yet to look at their maps. 310 hit points, which is just below average for the tier, excluding self-propelled guns. Hull armor. Yeah, that's a joke. 50 at the front, 38 sides and rear. That includes the little mini turret on top. Tier 2s and most tier 1s can go through this armor. Which really lends the case of why is this tank even in the game. I mean, granted, it was widely used in World War II. In fact, they actually produced over 5,000 of these tanks early period of the war before they finally realized some of their mistakes and then went to the M4 Sherman, putting the main gun in a turret on top of the tank that can rotate 360 degrees. But that just doesn't happen. This little turret up the top here, even though it has a great 47mm gun historically, you only get to use the 75, which is down in the hull. And if you take a side comparison, I've been able to spot people over a hill, but I have to expose so much of my tank that if you take a line of the gun, maybe angle it down at max 9 degrees, they'll be able to shoot this little turret and penetrate long before you'll be able to actually fire the gun at them. Which doesn't help that your spotting, your actual detection ring, is only 266 meters. This tank is blind as a bat. The only reason you can actually do anything is because of the signal range, which is normally 630. Of course, granted, right now, since my commander and rest of the tank aren't exactly top tier, or at least maxed out, it does take a bit in terms of that, but regardless, this so-called medium tank should be more effectively used as a tank destroyer. Concealment 142, which is pretty low. Haven't really dealt a whole lot of the numbers. Then again, mobility. The only good thing about this tank, it's got a decent specific power. It's still on the low side at 14.2. It's a good range for medium tanks. Would be closer to 18, 19. Top speed of 38. Not terrible. 16 reverse. Again, not great. 30-40 degrees a second. I've been outflanked by so many different people, it's not even funny. 400 horsepower engine. Again, not great. It's average. But enough stats. Let's see some gameplay.
down. We can only signal nearby vehicles. Track hit. We didn't even scratch them.
the, I would say, fails, but that's just how bad this tank is. As you saw in one of the clips, a Matilda killed me. Only indication I had was with the firing arc, or at least the damage indicator arc. Other than that, I could not see him. My guess is that he was just on the other side of the buildings, which would put him out of detection range. Others were face to face, and either the gun just can't reload fast enough, or I get swarmed, and none of the team is there to help me. But let's take a look at what can happen if you use your teammates to your advantage. Basically use them as meat shields, and then somehow we pull a win out of our ass.
Time to roll out.
So that was my experience with the M3 Lee so far, and I'll even pull up the service record for this thing. It hasn't exactly been great. Where is it? There it is. 32 battles, of which just under half of those have been victories. Survived 15% of the time. That's really, really sad. Average battle experience, 157, which is trash. Damage caused, 158. Trash. Damage received, 281. Surprised it isn't my entire hit pool. Maximum experience, 430. I wish it could be that way the whole time. Max damage, 652. It's average, I guess. It's on the lower side. And maximum tanks killed is 3. This tank, if you even want to call it a tank, is absolutely garbage. I really hope that the next, 8,800 experience will not take that long, so I can quit playing this utter piece of garbage. That's going to be it for today. Happy tanking, and hope to catch you soon.